Okay, so that was a pretty impressive display of magic.
Ooh, bacon.
Greetings, my tasty morsels. It's Reverse BLT here. Welcome back to the channel. I am about to record a reaction to Arcane, episode 2. I really enjoyed episode 1. I'm really excited to continue in this story, though I have strong suspicions that it's going to hurt me a lot.
Yeah.
Because I immediately connected with the sisters at the core of the story. I had a really interesting little thing happen though with this. So as you guys know, I have not ever played League of Legends. I have basically no knowledge of it other than, that it's a very popular MOBA. And I really wish I had recorded this. This is one of those things that just happened in my head. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it that I'm not being full of shit here. But in the previous episode, when Milo and Vi were talking about Powder and how she, is super unlucky and tends to screw everything up for them because of how unlucky she is, I thought to myself, they ought to change her name to Jinx. And when I was doing my, because I always go out and find images so that I can put them on the background or on the little framing that I use for the, to format things so that they look good on mobile and television. I kept finding references to a character named Jinx. And I was like, wait a minute, did I just somehow accidentally spoil myself without even realizing it? Because I just occurred to me that it would make sense to call her Jinx if she's incredibly unlucky. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing if I did actually somehow figure out that Powder becomes a character called Jinx despite having like zero knowledge of this universe. That'd be hilarious. But anyway, I was going to record this yesterday, but I had like a huge like freaking debacle that happened with grocery shopping that just ruined my whole day. But didn't ruin the whole day because at the beginning of the day I found out that the channel became eligible for YouTube partnership, so there was that. So it was a mixed bag. The channel is going very well right now. It's all thanks to you guys. I really appreciate the support, and I just love seeing it grow. But then on the other hand, I spent literally hours, because I'm car free these days, so I spent hours walking through the store shopping for stuff. I literally spent like 2 or 3 hours shopping for stuff because I'm one of those people who just loves to shop, I guess. And get to the checkout with all this stuff, and they don't accept touch contactless or whatever you want to call it, like Google Pay and stuff.
Wow, that is very interesting. Please tell me more.
But they are convinced that they can do it somehow. So I spend an hour with them trying to figure out how to make it work. And then of course nobody can make it work. And then I have to unbag everything that I spent 2 hours getting and then leave and walk all the way home. Now, I could have gone back because I don't live all that far away. I think I live about a mile away from the store. It wouldn't have been that big a deal to walk back, but I was just so pissed off at that point. And that's why I didn't record my reaction, because I don't want to go into these reactions already like pissed off because it's going to cloud everything, and I'm not really going to be paying enough attention, I think, or allowing myself to have good feelings. I'm just going to be still stuck in that headspace where I'm annoyed. The other thing is the video might look a little different and maybe even sound a little different because I also knocked over my my camera and microphone, and I tried to set them back up again as close to how they were before. But anybody who's done this before, if anything moves, you pretty much will never ever get the exact same thing again. So you just have to kind of hope that you got relatively close and that it still looks and sounds all right. But that's about it. We don't really need a last episode recap, I think. We all know what happened. So I'm just going to go right into it. Episode 2, Some Mysteries Are Better Left Unsolved. I'm not going to read the synopsis because the synopsis burned me last time.
danger is worth the risk, don't you think? Careful. That's your parents' money you're dropping.
And this story is from the opposite point of view. It's from the overworld people.
Hello?
Oh, okay.
Is someone in there?
What was going on during the heist?
Hey, open up!
With the doohickey of unfathomable power. Jace like the guy from the Ginyu Force? I expect an Australian accent. I don't think there's anyone there, kid. Okay, maybe there is. People need gloves.
Oh, wait!
Okay, so that was a pretty impressive display of magic. The movements reminded me of how magic works in one of my stories. It's something called script casting, where people move around and essentially paint scripts through their movements into the air, and it forms a spell. Interesting little mystery, also with some world building. So I'm going to assume that all magic in this universe requires objects. And then I wonder, are the objects the source of the magic, or are they just required to focus the magic? I know that the question will be answered. It's just, you guys see me like asking questions like just sort of general story questions. It's not really that I expect you to answer them. I know that the series, or at least I expect that the series will answer any of those types of questions. It's just me thinking out loud. Now, if I ask a question that's more like deeper lore that you know is not going to get covered in the series and isn't going to spoil me, feel free to answer that in the comments. I appreciate those types of answers.
What happened here? Science, I guess?
Last time we checked, science didn't require illegal equipment.
Look at history.
He sent me here to ensure that anything dangerous is removed safely, which, according to my list, includes you.
What? How am I dangerous?
Yeah, that's for the council to decide.
Knowledge, my friend. You have knowledge. And knowledge is dangerous.
Professor Heimerdinger, I believe I've discovered something truly
Bernink.
incredible. A way to harness magic through science.
The arcane is dangerous, Jace. A force of nature. Science cannot control it.
But
Wait. Controlling forces of nature is one of the primary goals of science, isn't it? I mean, I know that it's really just to understand, but we understand so that we can control.
I am now 307 years old. All my life I've pursued the mysteries of science, only to discover some are better left unsolved. This, I'm afraid,
Title
is one of them.
So they call magic the Arcane, huh? Pretty sure Arcane just means unknown.
Bother with this dump?
Or hidden.
Vander said to lay low. Enforcers never come down here, so this is as good a place as any.
That was the best job we've ever done. Maybe just don't take powder next time.
She's a damn good shot. Her expressions are hilarious.
Give me a name.
But the enforcers never came here.
You should see this.
Go ahead, idiots. We got nothing.
Yeah, she does. They're looking for the doohickeys of unfathomable power. Ooh, that looked painful.
The House Pharaohs received your letter. They insist business is steady.
Steady is stagnant, Allura.
Excellent choice, Counselor Medarda. Supreme challenge.
Lament configuration! Don't solve that.
Revolutionary, Alora. Something to put Piltover on the map.
We should hit them back. We've got the numbers to beat them.
Yeah, let's teach them what it means to mess with us.
What do you guys have aside from numbers, though?
Commander I knew, the one who built the underground, wouldn't be afraid to fight.
People change. They grow because of wisdom.
Do I look afraid?
No. You look weak.
Why isn't he doing anything?
We kicked the Enforcer's butts with just the 4 of us. Imagine what the whole of the lanes could do.
Jeez, even Powder wants to fight.
So why aren't we?
Oh.
Spill it, Echo.
Wait, is he Echo or is he Little Man?
Vander's gotta deal with the Enforcers.
So, lots of imagery indicating that this particular society is all about technology. There's like gears and cogs and everything. Even their fashion accessories. Steampunk! Even the table is a big cog. Clockwork necklace.
Were far more dangerous than I was aware of. What I did endangered people. It was reckless, and for that I'm sorry.
That a robot man?
Forgiveness.
There are robot men?
That I can continue my studies.
You can't make a prototype without breaking a few wrenches.
Do you have anything to show for your work besides an explosion?
No. It came to nothing.
So you're saying your study was meaningless?
It was revolutionary.
No study is really meaningless.
All I see is a boy meddling with things he doesn't understand. Perhaps we should just finish.
I was trying to create magic.
Got yourself goaded into...
Magic. Arcane talents are something you're born with. They can't be fabricated.
Ah, I
Actually,
see.
I believe it is possible.
So is she part machine?
The Arcane is the curse of our world. My race was nearly destroyed by it.
You don't understand what's at stake. But how can you? That's a burden that only I here carry. Time.
Also, someone has looked into this before.
I've seen this power in the wrong hands.
My son isn't in his right mind. His entire life he's chased an impossible dream. He has a good heart. Please, let him come home.
So she lost those fingers to frostbite, I see.
Must be punished.
A violation of the ethos calls for banishment. Perhaps in this matter, a lesser sentence may suffice. I move that Jace be summarily expelled from the academy and remanded to the care of his parents. All those in favor?
Isn't that just as bad?
You may take your son home, Mrs. Tallis, but he is never to set foot on academy grounds again.
So I'm guessing the academy is essentially more than just an institution of learning, but also the governing body of this society.
If my own family won't help me, I'll find someone who will.
Dog with a bone. Not gonna let it go.
Foolish boy.
I must admit, his theory intrigues.
There. Come tomorrow morning, his research will be safely disposed of. Lock up. No.
I don't think he wants it safely disposed of.
Will he live?
Let me know.
Looks like the Spirit Vine's weapon that Varric made in Legend of Korra.
Power, real power, doesn't come to those who are born strongest, or fastest, or smartest. No, it comes to those who will do anything to achieve it.
So I'm gonna guess that in the games there must be some sort of lumbering monster type creatures, and this is the origin story for those guys.
My dad says you're a misfit, and that we can't be friends anymore.
So why are you out here?
I'm a misfit too, I suppose.
Come inside, Caitlin. Now.
Don't need you mingling with the riffraff of the lower classes.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to explain.
I think you've done enough.
You've tainted their house
You said
with
this was a
your
robbery.
transgressions.
Did they take anything dangerous?
Hard to say.
Do whatever it takes. Turn the Undercity upside down if you have to. Just fight them.
What kind of... I was about to say, what kind of search doesn't include looking under the bed?
I ran into an old friend of yours. He had some stories. You weren't always the peacekeeper, were you?
Be a shame if I had to put them on again. Cast irons, well, it's hard to clean.
Hold on, kid. That was really well done.
You heard him. They won't stop. We need to fight back. And if you won't, I will.
I've heard this kind of talk before.
Are we going to get the resolution of that conversation? It was a weird cut. Just, I've heard this kind of talk before, and then imagery.
I was angry, just like you. I led us across this bridge, thinking things could change. If I hadn't, your parents would still be alive. Nobody wins in war, Vi.
What are we gonna do? The enforcers will come back.
I don't know. I'll figure it out.
How big is the Undercity? Is there somewhere they can go? I mean, we know there are other cities because the scene earlier was talking about dealings with other cities. So can you send them to one of those? Don't do it, bro. Not worth it.
Am I interrupting?
The hell's your problem?
I wanted to talk about your work. This hex tech theory of yours.
It's not a theory. I saw with my own eyes what magic can do. The lives it can save. You've no
Okay,
idea.
so it's a scientist who doesn't use the word theory the way a scientist uses it.
Now it's gone. No one believed me.
It is a theory, buddy.
Has ever believed in me? Poor cripple from the Undercity. I was an outsider the moment I stepped foot in Piltover. When you're going to change the world, don't ask for permission.
I'll admit I'm the type of person who also kind of thinks it's better to ask forgiveness than permission, but
I don't even know your name.
It's Victor.
Victor Von Doom?
The lanes are gonna fight.
I honestly thought he was going to push him over the edge. I don't know why. It was just the framing of the shot made me feel that way.
Enforcers. These are smoke bombs, and those two are full of nails.
Tell you, Powder may not like to fist fight, but she sure does seem to be fond of maiming people.
No, Powder. What makes you different makes you strong. Always remember that, okay?
So I'm wondering if she has the arcane. Just start using the lingo here.
Do you have any idea what you've done?
I was getting results. You heard the council.
You're a fool. There is no stopping what happens now.
What'll you have, kid? Interesting imagery. It's making me think of Crystal Nacht. I don't know if that's deliberate. What? That's not where you end an episode. I'll have to admit that the back and forth can be a little disjointed. But yeah, another great episode. I was expecting Vander's arrangement with the topsider enforcers to come back to bite him on the ass. I actually thought it was going to be bigger than this, though. I thought that Little Man's knowledge would end up becoming widespread. But it doesn't really look like that was necessary because everybody's just frustrated with not doing anything. So it's just basically, it was going to get to a point where, especially with the increased pressure from the topsiders, where it was just going to come to a head anyhow. You can only push people so far before the benefits of cooperation start to pale next to just, you know, your feeling of pride and self-worth, to be honest. Eventually someone's just going to snap because they just don't want to have your heel on their neck anymore, regardless of the consequences. And it looks like that one young enforcer who's a bit too zealous, and the council members also, who are very arrogant and afraid, and that's a really dangerous combination, arrogance and fear. Just the pressure they applied has just made it sort of almost inevitable that there'd be conflict. I assume that they handily won, though, the previous conflict, which is probably part of why they're so arrogant. They don't expect to lose. But we see that, you know, the older folks, for the most part, have they're a bit more reluctant to allow things to go that far. I'm guessing that what we saw on the bridge and everything in the first episode with Vander fighting and the one enforcer that looked back, I'm actually even wondering if that enforcer was Shorei's character, because this idea that, like, you know, these old veterans who were actually there and saw how awful it could be are desperate to stop something like this from happening again, and they're like some of the only ones. And we even got that with what was his name, the little guy who I guess was the head of the academy, where he talked about how, you know, he has the benefit of time. You know, he's so old that he remembers, you know, granted in this case it was a memory of fear of something else, but, you know, this theme that, like, you know, people who can remember the past put more effort into trying to prevent certain things from happening, and it's the younger folk whose memories are very short, who are more likely to kind of, you know, push these boundaries because they really just don't have any concept of what can really go wrong, you know? I don't know. It would be difficult for me to abandon research like this, though, especially if it's a world where typically magic and all the things that it can do, they're real, but they're limited to a very small population of people. I would also want to try to find some way to make it so that more people could use it. So I understand that. It's going to be very interesting to see where this goes. Also, with the Red Eye crime boss guy, I want to see what he's creating, like, and what his end goal is. Is he just trying to make like an army to rule the Undercity, or does he have much bigger ambitions? I'm assuming he has much bigger ambitions, especially with the bit about, you know, him looking out at the sea monsters or whatever and talking about how people upside don't even know things like that exist. I have a feeling that he wants to rule the world, like any really good villain does, right? Anyway, let me know what you guys thought of this episode. And, you know, like I said, if there's any lore questions that you see me raise that you know will not be answered by the series, but that you think will deepen my appreciation for it without spoiling me, please do leave those in the comments. I really enjoy reading that kind of stuff. I love lore. I love learning about things like that. I don't want to go research it on my own, though, because I'll end up probably spoiling myself, and that's just something I always want to avoid. Thanks so much, guys, for being part of my journey to 1,000 subscribers, which we hit recently, and the channel being accepted into the YouTube Partner Program. Couldn't have done it without you, like literally could not have done it without you. So I really appreciate it, and I hope you'll stick with me for the journey going forward. I don't know what the next milestone is. I don't know, journey to 2,500 or journey to 5,000 or whatever, but you know, I'm gonna try for it, and I hope you guys will be there with me when I achieve it. Thanks again. Make sure you guys stay safe and be well, and I will see you for the next one. Bye-bye.
Excellent choice, Counselor Medarda. A supreme challenge.
We have such sights to show you.